Hey kids, you're listening to the internet's wettest podcast about video games, consoles, and pancakes. The SML Podcast.
Ball squad, shoot for the skill shot, it's a house ball. Ball squad, shoot the green like a mock jackpot. Mike is the simulator, Mel is the zen. Joe with the milky voice, Stemage the Uber fan. Ball squad, with a ball squad.
Darmok's going live on Twitch at the same time.
You can leave if you want.
I'm leaving. No, she's not on yet. No, it's fine. It's just she never streams long enough that I can actually catch it.
That was amazing.
What?
I don't know, Chris. Yeah, I don't know. You probably didn't know. Joe is mid what? Right in the middle of your last comment, and it was very good. It was real good.
Better timing than Aki.
I don't think we could do that again if we tried. Amazing.
What's up, everybody? This is the SML Podcast. I am your host, Joe. Joining as usual, Chris and Pernell are here. Aki is here. Stemage is here. And Andy Sperry should show up later on, too. How's everybody doing?
Great. What was that, Stemage?
Did you say Chris yet?
He did.
Yeah.
Oh, why did I not hear that? My brain. You know what? We'll see how this goes. I feel like half of my brain is working today. And that's it. That's all you're going to get.
More than I'm running most of the time on the show.
Gotcha. It's the half that plays pinball, I guess. So maybe that'll be good enough for the show. We'll see.
On Thursday episodes, there's maybe 1.5 brains functioning in total amongst the whole lot of us, and Bree's a whole one of those. So, it's fine. You don't need but
Jacob
half
sets
brains
us
on the
back,
show.
though, to be fair. You and I aren't.
Well, yeah.
Jacob just.
Yeah, both of us are at least half a brain. We're really lucky it even comes out to 1.5. Because sometimes it drops down to still a -2 brains somehow, thanks to Jacob. But not often, thankfully. Usually it's just half a brain to a full brain he takes away. It is what it is. It happens.
Grant, how
I just realized. Oh.
Good. I don't know what I've done. I don't know when the last time I was on was, but I know it was pre-Switch release because you guys did a little Switch 2 episode, which I wish I would have been on there for. I was talking at you guys while you were talking. Coming out of
what
the
were
car
you talking to us about? Because now I'm curious.
I was just Switch stuff.
Did you get one?
I did get one. Yeah, I did get one. I've been playing it for a spell.
What you been playing on it?
Well, I play a bunch of Mario Kart, but Mario Kart's not the kind of game where you play it 100 hours of it at once, right? You go through, you explore,
Allegedly.
you learn some Grand Prix, I guess you can, but that's not really what I like going back to it, and kind of in between playing other things. And there aren't really other things that are brand new on the Switch 2. It's just a lot of other stuff and a lot of ports and remasters and things. Although it has been fun to go back to old Switch games and see how amazing they run. I did start a new save of Mario Odyssey because it's been a long time and that game looks freaking incredible on Switch 2. It's kind of shocking.
Did you actually get an upgrade on there, or do you change general system power?
Oh, it was already smooth, but it's full 4K, better lighting. It looks incredible. It looks like it's on.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
I
never finished
500 moons.
Yeah, I'm short some moons in my other save, but I was like, it's been so long, I might as well. That game's been out. That game came out a long time ago, so kind of like playing it for the first time. And then I've been playing Resident Evil 5 because I never played that one ever. And
a sparrow.
It's the best version, I think, of this game now because it runs at a locked 60 frames. It's really, really good looking, but it also has motion control, so I can use the controller and to aim the reticle, which is nice. So I'm playing that for the first time, and there's a lot of shooting in that one. I don't know. I can't.
I was just gonna say five's the one that everybody was complaining at the time that it has just the worst AI in the world. I don't mean the AI. I don't mean Gen AI. I mean computer AI.
Right. The original definition of AI.
Yes.
Yeah.
The one we gamers should only adhere to.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think I got looked at that one. That was back when
play it solo back then. I went through the entire game with a buddy on Xbox Live. That guy.
Oh, it must be nice to have a friend, Joe.
Xbox Live was like accessible. So like, and everybody was using it. So like, there were multiple playthroughs of that game with everybody to farm their items and stuff. And I think that may have been one of the last games I had that kind of scenario with. But God, was it a good game?
Nice.
Yeah, I can already tell it would be a blast with a buddy. It's playable as it is, but there's just sort of this waste of time of like handing ammo back and forth with an AI partner that doesn't do a lot. You know what I mean? I mean, she does stuff, but not like a lot. You know, you have to drive. You have to drive the car. The car's not going to drive itself. But that's been a lot of fun just to kind of poke at that. I was going to just test and see what it looked like, but I'm kind of playing more than I planned. And then a bunch of racing games that got updated, and then like some GameCube stuff. And that's basically all there is.
Upgrade to the Switch pinball playing?
I haven't checked. I normally don't play on the I had like my vertical grip for the old Switch, but it won't fit the new Switch because the new Switch is too big. So I don't have that. I like playing the vertical mode, but I haven't tested out. The old system, platform ran pretty well on the original Switch, so I need to check that out and see if there's a resolution bump or a frame rate bump. But those guys got that game running pretty well on Switch, so I imagine it's pretty solid on the new one. Yeah. So I've been having fun with that, and they just played that. I watched that Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct, and like, holy crap, they saved a whole bunch of information for that, and I cannot wait for that freaking game. And it's like less than a month away, so that's exciting. So
yeah, once I decided I'm definitely picking it up, I'm just like, I'm not going to watch any more directs.
You should just don't.
Yeah.
Like,
that's one of those games where it's like, it's going to be good. It's pretty much this system's Mario Odyssey for the most part.
It looks like it. So, but yeah, I've been enjoying it. It's nice. I've got a fancy grip that's coming in the mail in a couple days, and there'll be enough to play on it, but it's not like a windfall of new games or anything, I dig it.
Better than
Call
the
him Grant Fancy Grip
days.
Henry.
Fancy Grip Henry is my... Yes, how'd you know my middle name? I never told you. Good one. Good detective skills.
For now, how was your weekend?
It was okay. Canceled plans out the wazoo multiple times, so
hell yeah,
I made the best of it. And basically got my games in, did some exercise, tried to organize a few things, and started trading in some board game stuff. So I'm starting to like kind of sharpen, pave down my library, and I've also officially committed to being done with this whole game collecting element. I locked in the last system that I've been collecting for, and I set up the library for it. So at this point, it's just kind of like Steam, and I don't know, eventually, seeing if I get more caught up in the hobby again and whatnot. But as far as like amassing a library, I've kind of put the kibosh on that, and I came to grips with that over the weekend. Moved all my Switch stuff upstairs to the library, and I think that's pretty much it. Like, I don't know. How about you? How was your weekend?
It was okay. You talking about getting like paring down on stuff. I've always said that like my Assassin's Creed collection would be the one thing I never wanted to get rid of. But I think the walls are breaking down on that. I didn't get the Shadows Collector's Edition this year, which was a bummer, but I thought, maybe in the future we could pick it up. And then last week on the show, one of my statues broke. So now
I remember
just
that.
like take them down. I don't know.
It's one of those where like once you lose part of it, you start to think about, it didn't hurt as much as I thought it would, and now it feels incomplete. So why do I keep all of it at all?
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of freeingness to that too, not having to chase the high of getting new stuff anymore, and the stupid aspects of like the limited acquisition of titles they're trying to do nowadays. In some of the cases, just the general rip-offs of it too, like getting a full collector's edition with no freaking game in it, like nonsense like that. It just doesn't feel right anymore.
Yeah.
And also, as corny as it may sound, if someone goes, "What the heck? I thought you liked games." Like, I like games. Have you seen how much space I no longer have? That's it. When you have 30 years worth of games in your house that you amassed over 30 years, like we talk about our friend Brendan and his Bloop Museum and what he's doing with that. He joked that well, he wasn't joking. He was serious. He was like, "Hey, Pernell, do you think you have any donations for the museum?" I was like, "I am the museum. Why would I donate to another one? Like, I am the museum." So in that regard, it's like I look at my room and I'm like, I'm my own little Bloop museum of my own. Like, it's just the Pernell Game Museum, the history of me playing and buying video games. It's pretty much in one spot. Because aside from like the Super Nintendo, Nintendo Genesis era, of which some games I even still recovered, I sold those games because I didn't have a job and I wanted a Saturn. But aside from that, I never sold games. Every game I pretty much ever purchased, ever, I kept. And I bought a lot. So that's what's up there.
Yeah, I have my one exception as well. It was the first time I moved out of my parents' house. I was like, I'm not gonna have room for all these NES games, so I like sold half of them. But it was like,
did you find yourself in a state of mind where you want to try to recover some of them, but then the market got too expensive to bother, or did you stay committed to not having them?
Yes on the first part, no on the second part. I regretted it immediately and started like recollecting and actually got away with not having to pay too much for reacquiring stuff because it was all the cheaper stuff to begin with. I did not get rid of anything that was like first party, nothing that like was a childhood game.
Never a proud owner of Wampum.
Yeah, early no. In fact, one of the games I couldn't sell because they didn't GameStop didn't have it in the database was L'Emperor, which is the Koei strategy games where you play as Napoleon. And that game became hundreds of dollars because of its rarity. And I guess a kind of maybe there's a novelty to it, but I don't know how much it's worth now. But I remembered recently looking at that one, being like, "Wow, GameStop wouldn't even give me 9 cents for that."
Wow.
But anyways, it was just
if I own any games worth multiple hundreds of dollars anymore. I think I've just unloaded them through the years.
Nah, I got them all.
I still got a couple of those, yeah, but Magic Knight Rare, that's still up there.
Nice. So, you know, my collection at the time, my NES collection was not like, these are my childhood games. It's more like, I just got a job and eBay just started and you can get like 2 NES games for $4, like, you know, with $2 shipping. And it's like, you know, I was just doing that constantly. And so I just had all these like weird ass little games that I was like, you know, I was like, I got too many carts. And now I have that many carts and it's like not even a big deal. In fact, I found the perfect bins sold at the Container Store to contain them.
Ooh.
So they're not bad. Not bad at all.
Storage porn.
Yes. No, I dude, like that's actually like I do actually kind of like one of the thrills of being an adult is like finding an adequate storage solution. And like you just like sit there at work and think about like organizing things.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, I can.
I did think about what it would look like if I organized my Blu-ray, DVD, 4K disc collection based on color. You know how some people do that with books. You ever see this?
Oh,
it's crazy.
I have seen colored like things like that. Yeah.
I so rarely like go to it, except for like the new ones. I'm back to buying 4K Blu-rays, which is stupid because companies keep putting good versions out. But if I keep like the dozen that I've bought most recently, I could take the rest of them, which I never pull off the shelf, and just make like art out of it, right? Just like totally organized based on shade and Pantone. Maybe I'll do that.
Hell yeah.
Just for because it wouldn't be that bad to undo it. But I don't know. That sounds really bougie.
I mean, yeah, it's just like a little bit of it's just rearranging the stuff you got.
That's
already.
True.
So
it's it's all form, no function at that point. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know people that did that with Blu-ray, with DVDs, and it did end up that all of like the reds and yellows were comedy and all the blacks were horror. Like it ended up accidentally organizing by genre by doing that, which I thought was fascinating.
What's the latest pickups you've made with movies?
Me?
Yeah.
I bought Dead End Drive-In, the 4K collector's edition, which is a Australian drive-in film where they turn a drive-in into a prison essentially, and it's quite good and worth seeing, and it's funny. And then I bought let's see.
Do they continue to play movies at the prison?
They do at night. So like there's a drive-in. It's like this is like 1983, 4, so it's like pink hair. Everyone's kind of like rock and roller, punk, gutter punk kind type, and yeah, they basically like block. They keep everyone in this drive-in, and then as a prison, they show movies at night. They feed them. They do everything they need to do to keep them chill, and they start forming their own sort of social structure within the drive-in. It's actually a really cool movie. About like tons of social commentary and Australian weird stuff. So check out Dead End Drive-In. I bought Shredder Orpheus, which is a sort of an art film involving a skateboarder from 1990. I bought a collector's edition of Razorback, which is one of my favorite horror films from 86, maybe.
I had I don't know if it was. Is that the one with the giant pig?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that was recommended to me to watch because somebody said based on things I like, I would look. It was like basically it was one of those things where it's like somebody was like, tell me what you are in, like answer these 3 questions and I will tell you what disaster and or horror film you should watch.
Right. Sure.
And that was the one that I got.
That's and Razorback was the suggestion.
I think so.
That's cool.
It's about like
it's giant pig, giant boar.
Yeah,
and it's from the director of Highlander. He did like a bunch of Duran Duran music videos in the 80s. So it's just it's a looker. It like looks really really good.
Nice.
But yeah, you should watch that one. It's fun. All the weird Australian movies are weird. They got strange in the 80s. I love them all. Anyway, and I bought a 4K version of The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing.
Nice.
To watch, and it looks awesome. So that's the last weird movies,
bought
Joe.
So few physicals lately, but I wanted to make a point to buy The Day the Earth Blew Up.
Oh, that's fun.
The Looney Tunes movie.
Yeah. Nice. That's a great one. Animated ones.
That was a great movie.
Restored animated ones look amazing. But they just keep doing special editions with like hours and hours of interviews and like trailers, and I don't know, that stuff you can't get on streaming anymore,
Yeah.
So I like I love how the sausage is made, personally.
Yeah, I love feature-length commentary.
Yes.
Those are great.
I love it.
The last film I bought was the Criterion Collection edition of Godzilla vs. Biollante, which is the last Godzilla film that I had not yet purchased legitimately on Blu-ray. That is to say, I bought a suspicious version of it. But
Yes.
But this is an official, and the 4K restoration of it is amazing for a 1989 Japanese Godzilla film. It looked so good. So
Cool.
if you're looking to spend another $40, then there you go.
Yeah.
It's one of the better Godzilla films too.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, it's so rare in the US because we didn't really see it initially, and it's had there's been rights issues with it forever, and it did get one Blu-ray release, but it's after a few years that became a really rare and sought after one, so it's a couple $100. I don't know about now, but it was. And so yeah, people were just I think people were just copying that and selling that for 20. Which is how I ended up with it, but it wasn't a great transfer or anything. It kind of looked average. But
Yeah,
this one's actually
This is actually like a legit.
yeah,
one.
it's Criterion, so it's
Okay. Yeah, that would
legit
be
all
it.
the way.
That's cool. Yeah, they've actually figured out how many of these things to make to entice people to buy them, because they will sell out. They just will eventually, in a few months, So every time I'm on a couple of newsletters, it's bad, and then something will come up that I'll pre-order, and I don't know.
I'm on the Godzilla newsletter. It's how I knew about it.
I bet you are.
I am. That's the one film series where I'm actually, I am an expert at this one. Most other films, I'm I've seen it, but I don't know anything about it unless I watched a feature-length commentary.
Yep.
Hockey, what's the latest movies you've bought?
I don't remember the last time I actually bought a movie. I get movies for Christmas because I refuse to buy them. So the last movie I bought, I was probably early teenage years. So
what's
more
the
than
last
half my
VHS you bought? No.
Oh Jesus!
I can actually answer that question for myself.
Oh God!
I don't know that answer.
Is it Godzilla related?
No.
Oh, what was it?
You will never guess in
probably
1,000
Benny and
years
June.
what it is.
Never in 1,000 years.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of movies. You have to like pretty much go down the list, and that's going to take a long time.
If it's not Godzilla, I don't know. I don't know if I got nothing.
Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Lion King.
Nope. Lion
How about
King?
giving an actual clue and not like every movie on the
What's wrong
spectrum?
with the Lion King? I fucking love the Lion King. That was the
Okay.
last VHS tapes I owned.
I will say
other
that was
than
the
the movie.
last. Well, I mean, I'm not a Disney VHS buyer. That's a dangerous road.
That was is the VHS theater recorder. That's how long ago that was for me. With the camcorder,
Nice.
remember that?
Hell yeah.
Oh, geez.
I bought some bootleg VHSs before. It's
I bought bootleg VHSs of a 311 and a Korn concert at the Rock and Roll
Nice.
Emporium. Boy,
That's excellent.
The worst, like the worst.
Great
bootlegs you've
audio
ever
quality,
seen.
I assume.
Just everything. Like it was zoomed in. Oh, it was a tragedy. Spent like probably $25 for each one of those back in 90 5 or something. Ugh,
It was the
terrible.
greatest shit at the time because you couldn't get stuff like that.
No, you really couldn't.
Yeah. No, I spent $45 on the 1976 performance on German TV of my very favorite band, Gentle Giant, which is now, like, if you go on YouTube and look up Gentle Giant, it's like the first result. Like, it's been preserved every which way because they released it on DVD. Some folks took it upon themselves to digitally restore it even and improve the video and audio, and actually did. Like, it's not just like crap. And yeah, but like the original way I saw that was way before the DVD, about 5 years before that DVD release. Was a 4 times like recorded over blank VHS, and it was just like awful. And I watched it 1,000 times because it was the only. There were barely even pictures of the band back in the 90s, so it's like to actually see them like do their like crazy instrumental stuff, like, and yeah, it was huge for me. And yet I lost it. I have no idea where it is.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
good riddance. I got the DVD eventually. But
There's a few VHS tapes I would love to be able to track down, but they were probably lost in floods and stuff. Just
They're, like,
random high school bullshit that we did. Oh my God.
oh yeah, there's a high school band I was in that has a VHS recording that is lost to time. But I also have a box of unmarked VHS tapes, so maybe not.
What's in there? Grab bag.
What's in there?
Porn.
It's really ironic we're having this discussion because 2 days ago,
Of course, that gets Hockey's. Oh,
Hockey's like, they did porn on VHS?
Oh, I know there's porn on VHS. For no reason. No
Hockey's
reason
like, I
at all.
collect porn flip books.
It's
I
weird
would.
that we're chatting this VHS life because literally yesterday I bought a little box from eBay that for dumping VHS to my capture card.
Oh, nice.
Did some research. There's a million of them available. Most of them are terrible, but I found a pretty good one. So I'm going to be going back and dumping some of that stuff. I'll probably find the video where my brother and I remade Terminator 2 when I was like 13 and he was 9 or whatever. I don't know. Let's see what I didn't rot.
Your YouTube page is going to blow up with content, isn't it?
What's that?
I said your YouTube page is going to just blow up with new content, isn't it?
You can bet that none of that will see the light of day by anyone other than my closest podcast compadres.
So in other words,
I was gonna say,
it's going to be the SML is going to blow up with even more content.
I'm a judgment free, like, childhood cringe enjoyer.
Oh, I am as well, but like it's hard for me to watch it. You know what I mean? It's almost like I can't handle someone else seeing it. You guys would probably think it's the best ever. I do have a lot
everything.
of old band videos. Like my band in high school is called User Friendly, and we used to cover Bush and Nirvana and write our own songs, and so that would be fun to get off and stick on the line.
A good name too, by the way. That's pretty good for like a teenage garage band.
Not bad. We had a little Superman logo with the UF in it. It was cool.
Nice. Oh,
somewhere in the world out there, there's a VHS tape of me, my dad, and my brother doing Whitewater Rapids, and we flipped it on one of the. It's like a triple wave, and they're like, if we lean back really hard, we could flip this thing, and we flipped it.
Wow,
that was fun. Yeah, I wish I could find that video again.
I'm assuming someone was recording it from a canoe or from a vessel that did not flip, right?
Yeah. Like
so if anybody wants to guess
along the rail.
If anybody wants to guess what the last VHS I bought was, if you really do want to play this game, I will tell you, I'll narrow it down very well, and you'll still not guess.
This is important. Go ahead, narrow it down. I'm ready.
It's from the 90s. It is a parody film, but not made by Mel Brooks or the Zookers.
Well, who are the Zookers?
Airplane and Naked Gun.
Oh, right. 90s, huh?
Scary movie.
Nope.
That was 90s. You're right.
No, that was a good guess, but it was not.
It was a parody film.
Not another parody movie.
Have we heard of it?
I liked Not Another Teen Movie, actually, and I had that on DVD back in the early 2000s.
I love that thing.
I still remember there's this one like a cut scene, like not cut scene. What am I saying? Deleted scene that was like actually really funny that I still think about from time to time. I can't like describe it because it would require this whole setup, and it's not good. It's definitely a reason it was deleted, but I was thinking about it literally yesterday while doing the dishes.
Huh.
Yeah.
Would we recognize this film? Do we know this movie?
I don't think you know the movie. I think you would definitely know from the title what it is parodying, and then you would be wrong.
This movie you've never heard of.
Well, I mean, maybe you've seen the title. I don't know. Let's say it's only one word. It's one word changed from the original title. The thing it's parodying's title.
It's Freeing Willy. That's a porn.
I didn't know that exists, but I would watch that.
Do we know any of the actors in it?
Yes.
Okay.
And frustratingly, you would know them from Mel Brooks films.
Oh, that's hard. Okay, weird. Who would be?
But you would know the main actor and like the person whose face is on the cover, which is not the main actor, by the way.
Caracal
said Naked Gun, which is a pretty good guess. Although I think that's
good guess, but that's
that would have been the obvious.
Or at least
that's it.
That's Zookers or at least Abrams. I'm gonna include Abrams in that. It's not Abrams, so it's not like Hot Shot.
That was a good guess, though.
I started watching Hot Shot yesterday. Actually, it's still pretty funny.
They have a 4K collection of Naked Gun, Airplane, and Top Secret, and I want to get that.
Oh, Top Secret! That's
Top Secret's so good.
You know they are making a new Naked Gun, right, with Liam Neeson.
Oh my god, the trailer looks so good.
The trailer was good.
It looks the comedy actually looks correct, and so I'm pleased.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hope it's not the Zookers, not the Republican one anyway.
I will say I loved how they were treating all the OJ references in the trailer. It was great. Like that's not dealing with this.
Akiva Schaffer of Lonely Island?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
I believe he's the one directing the new one. So if you've watched like Hot Rod or Pop Star, you know what you're getting with this one.
Yeah.
And I think those two are brilliant. I love Hot Rod so much.
Well, I can't remember which Zooker it was, but one of them really fell from grace in the mid 2000s because he like became a hardcore Republican and started making the least funny shit on the planet.
Yeah.
And one of them was one of Leslie Nielsen's final roles too, which is terrible. You know, you hate to go down like that, but yeah.
All right, what's the movie? We're never gonna
Is it Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood?
That is a great classic, but not the correct answer. I wish I owned that on TV. That was a really good one.
I don't know.
It was just a bunch of words to me.
Right? Wasn't it?
Shit.
Well, it was like a parody of like of I guess the Spike Lee movies, pretty much, right?
Yeah, it was like Menace to Society and the and all the Spike Lee
I'll just
stuff.
go ahead and say it. The Wayans had nothing to do with it.
All right, I give up.
That's not the name of the movie.
The Wayans had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, no, that's not the name of any movie. Although I would watch a movie that said that. Okay, the answer is
even on Blu-ray.
What?
Don't Be a Menace.
Oh no, probably not.
Blu-ray. Huh.
This movie that I bought is not even on DVD. Like, it never got any kind of release outside of the original VHS. It is Silence of the Hams.
Oh, I've
Never heard of that in my life.
I've heard of it. I did not see it, but I've heard the name. That's all.
And the face on the cover, if you Google it, is Dom DeLuise. He plays Dr. Animal. He plays Dr. Animal Cannibal Pizza, who is the Hannibal Lecter thing. Okay, so the movie was produced by Roger Corman's wife, not even Roger Corman, and was directed, written, and stars Ezio Greggio, who is the worst comedian in the world. He also made a film with Leslie Nielsen called 2000: A Space Travesty. He's Italian and a huge fan of Mel Brooks, and he even has a little cameo in Dracula Dead and Loving It, which is another unloved parody film. And he loved Mel Brooks so much that he really wanted to make an American movie parody film. And so he did. Mel Brooks is even in it for a minute. And it stars Billy Zane. It has like a bunch of like, I guess, kind of out of work almost actors of the time, like Rip Taylor and there's Phyllis Diller's in it. She was like impossibly old at that point. But it's actually terrible. It's a horrible film. The writing is bad. The effects are like bad. The gags are hilarious sometimes and just like confusing at other times. But I found it so charming. I mean, it's problematic too because it's from the 90s. So don't actually go out and watch it or anything. I don't know. It's just like it was just this brazenly like kind of bad but well-meaning parody. And it's just one of those VHS oddities that I like picked up back when it was like relatively new, and I don't know, I liked it despite itself.
Sure.
So that's the film.
I have my, the bad movies I love as well. So
yeah.
Right,
and it's kind of worse when it's a bad comedy, because like comedy that fails is not funny, whereas like serious stuff that fails is comedy.
Yeah.
So you need to digitize that movie before it goes bad, if it isn't already bad.
You can actually watch it for free online. Somebody has preserved it on like an actual kind of, you can't watch it on YouTube, but like there are legit sites you can like watch it on. Okay. So it has been preserved in whatever fashion. It's just, it never had like at least not a proper DVD release, and definitely not Blu-ray. And I don't even know what Ezio Greggio's up to. I think he does like other things in filmmaking, but as far as I know, in the U.S., he's Italian, so I don't know what he's done in Italy. But the only things he's done in the U.S., as far as I know, is that in 2001, A Space Travesty, which he actually made in 2001. And that one actually was kind of so bad that I stopped watching it.
Oh, wow. Couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, but I might go back and actually finish it out at some point. My tolerance is a little higher now. With the advent of quality portable games.
Silence of the Hams on this show.
It's an inevitability with me, actually.
It was going to happen eventually.
I actually did see that at our local non-Blockbuster video store in town. Had that on VHS, and I watched it.
That's a rental if there ever was one.
I thought it was
he
awful.
did watch that movie.
I thought it was so bad.
It is.
Oh.
It is. I have no excuses for it. This is just. But yeah, 1,000 years, you wouldn't have guessed.
No,
you're right.
Never, ever,
right.
ever. So, should we get to reviews, or is there anything else anyone wants to talk about?
John Aston's also in it, and they literally do the like Addams Family music sting and the snaps when he shows up as a cameo. It's very shameless.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, they do it twice actually in the film too. Not as a callback. I think they just forgot.
Oh gosh.
Anyway.
Cheapest copy of Don't Be a Menace on eBay is $45 on Blu-ray.
Yeah. Oh, on Blu-ray.
From 2011.
That's cool. They kept up with the media. That was a very funny movie.
Never got another release in 2011.
My favorite gag in it was like one of the Wayans brothers. I'm sorry, I can't remember which one. That's a common problem. But like, anytime that the movie would start to get kind of serious, he'd pop up in some unexpected place and go, "Message!" to tell the audience that there's a message in the film.
I see.
At one point, he shows up as a baby, just a little
like
baby with his
movie.
full adult head on it.
Does sound pretty awful.
That's your homework, Aki. Find Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
I have other things to do with my time, like, I don't know.
No, this is a good one.
Barfane.
This is a good one.
Why don't I believe that?
Trash Rando said it's Keenan, so thank you.
Could someone just type the name of this piece of shit in the Discord or something for me? Can grab it and go find it.
Trash Rando also says Loaded Weapon 1, which is another fantastic one.
That was a solid one. National Lampoon had a few decent ones near their
only back then.
End.
They got real bad in the 2000s.
Oh, they did change a lot. Yeah, someone just bought it and started making crap.
Yeah.
So review. Should we dive in?
I suppose.
All right. First game to talk about tonight is Survival Kids, developed, published, and given to us by Konami for the purpose of this coverage. Released June 5th on the Switch 2 for $49.99. Picture this: a dusty old attic, cobwebs, forgotten boxes, and the faint smell of neglect. Four curious kids stumble upon an ancient, tattered map, sparking an unexpected adventure. Setting out to sea upon their ramshackle boat, a sudden ferocious storm hurls them into a hidden world brimming with danger and mystery. Now it's down to you to help them work together and find their way home in Survival Kids, a fast-paced co-op survival game for absolutely everyone. Chris, tell us about Survival Kids.
Absolutely everyone. Well, thank you, Konami, for the code. I'm glad to be included in absolutely everyone. I mean, it doesn't always happen. Yes, so Survival Kids is back. That was like kind of the last or second to last thing that anybody was expecting. But actually Nintendo kind of broadcasted it by release. Well, of course they talked about it in the big direct about Switch 2, but also they released the original Survival Kids on the Game Boy NSO app. So this is a long-running series. It goes all the way back to Game Boy Color in 1999, and this is the latest iteration. I think the last one we saw was on the Wii back in 2008. But I can't remember if that came out before or after Lost in Blue. Basically, there was 2 Survival Kids games on the GBC, and then 3. It got revived as Lost in Blue on the DS, and 3 of those games came out. And then there was
Lost in Blue.
Yeah, it kind of looked like an RPG, but then when you play it, it's like, oh, this is actually kind of different. So yeah, the Survival Kids games are basically like when you play at least like the originals and such, like it was very Zelda-esque where you were walking around a top-down map, advancing a screen at a time. And your thing was to like, your kid was like stranded on a desert island and you have to rummage and build and like even hunt animals to like ensure their survival. They can actually not survive. So you kind of work your way towards one of a whole bunch of endings. And like just basically see how you did. And like some elements of the game were kind of randomized, not all of them, but some of them. And so like it was like very every game, every game, every playthrough. Thank you, me. Was different from the last, and I don't know that is all in this version. This is definitely a brand new take on the idea of the survival kids. So what actually happens in this game is that for one, it's odd to hear that same intro read in Joe's voice and not a British actor, because there's a British narrator that talks to you through the I'm presuming the entirety of the game, because even after I left the first world, like the first several islands, he was still going. You can turn him off, of course.
I need to hire a British narrator to thank people for their subs. Like, Burger Thing just subbed for the 18th month. So, thank you.
Thank you, Burger Thing. Yeah.
My liege.
It was jolly good. The narrator, I didn't look up who the narrator is. I'm sorry. I didn't do all my research, but it kind of sounds a little bit like Paul Bettany. So it's a little bit like having Vision from the Marvel films, talking at you a little bit sarcastically. If we're being honest here, that he doesn't always approve of you. But what happens is, basically your kid goes out on a boat by his or herself. You pick the kid, you pick their look. You don't pick their gender. You actually just build their look, and then you just kind of decide for yourself. So that's kind of pretty forward. Pretty cool. And anyway, once you pick your kid, you go out sailing and come across a wrecked island, which actually turns out is on the back of a giant turtle. This turtle is called a wordle. I think what they're going for with that is world turtle, because each island is kind of its own little world, or a stage anyway, literally a stage on its back. So the idea is that every turtle you crash into is going to start diving, so you need to like get to where your raft is crashed, which is always the top of the island, at least as far as I played. And to do that, you need to find ways to get to the upper parts of the island, which involves building and crafting and like searching around for things. So you start with your base camp, which you have to build from materials you find on the ground and then put in a specific spot. And it's one of those things, it's a little bit like an RTS in that when you find all the ingredients, you throw them in like a bucket, then suddenly pops up, and then you can use it. And so you build your base first, and depending on the stage, there may be like some things like recipes that you can craft. So like you can craft yourself a fishing pole and then go fishing. You can craft yourself a trampoline, and that will help you do jumps onto other parts of the island. And the goal is a fewfold. One is, of course, to get to your raft, but before you do that, a secondary goal is to also find buried treasure that's all around the island, most of which you have to go really out of your way and kind of discover the hidden treasure stones is what they're called, and drag them back to your base camp. So, and that again, you can beat the level without that, but the game does keep track, and so it'll show the island.
Keep track of subs, because Vlad Slavin just subbed as well. Vlad, thank you for your support. Thank you for hanging out, and for being here. Yeah. Survival kids.
Yes. So, yeah, basically, again, you gather your material by the fact that your character travels with an axe and a pickaxe, which the British narrator is surprised by. So if you need rocks, you break apart a rock and get them, or you can break apart clams that are in rocks, and that'll get you both a rock and a clam, and the clams can be cooked for food. You can chop down trees, and certain trees will produce vines, whereas others will produce logs and chopped wood. you need the wood to cook, and then you gather up food and just kind of throw it in the pot, and it's Breath of the Wild style, right? It just bubbles up and then pops out with something, and then you eat it. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any fail. There's no fail conditions for cooking. Oh no, there is. You can actually burn food, but it doesn't come out like censored like in Breath of the Wild, which is my favorite thing in Breath of the Wild. Is the censored food. But yeah, once you've like kind of built stuff, you get the materials to like throw into a bucket to build a bridge, for instance. And then you can now travel to the next part of the island. Well, then you have to pack up your base camp and drag it along behind you, and then set up base camp on another part of the island. And then as soon as you do that, the previous part of the island gets submerged in water. So you can't travel back to it. And now you're kind of on a different stage of the Wordle, a different level, literally. So you kind of just repeat this until it's done. And then as soon as you get the raft or as soon as you have your raft rebuilt and you drag your base camp on top of the raft, that finishes the level. And like I said, the secondary goal is to have found like hidden treasure. The third goal is to do all of this within a certain amount of time. So the game actually has, and you can optionally display the timer as you're going, but the game doesn't start with a timer. Because you're just expected to kind of hang out and do whatever you want until the goals are done. Because that turtle ain't gonna drown you. In fact, that is kind of an aspect of this game that is absent from, as far as I understand, the rest of the series. I've only played the early games, like the original Survival Kids and the original Lost in Blue. And your kids can die in those games. Your kids cannot die in this game. If you venture out into the water too deep, which is the first thing I did, your kid expresses some disappointment, but then the screen just fades and you're back on land and you're fine. There's no fall damage. There's no enemies. There's no counting down until you get killed. If you don't eat, you don't die. You just don't have any energy, and you might not be able to climb like ropes or a rope bridge that you can build or something like that. Like, it has an energy wheel, again, Breath of the Wild style, and you build on that by eating, and you eat by like cooking food, unless it's coconuts. You can eat those raw, believe it or not. And then like I said, you get to the end of the stage, and like I say, you can try and do it in again, but like quicker. Although I don't think you have to find the treasure a second time. So it's kind of like you try to find all the in an optimal game, you would want to find all the treasure, and then you would want to go through and do it at a faster time. But yeah, then you just move on, and your ship crashes into another turtle, and the British guy makes for running into 2 turtles or Wordles, and then you're at 5 or 6 Wordles, and he's still not impressed with you. So you keep running into Wordles, and eventually the nature of the stages kind of start to change. So you start off in like these just very tropical island like style things, but then like the next set of Wordles are red color, and they're like more arid and deserty, and like it's a little harder to just simply find what you need. Like, you actually have to scrimp a little bit, and so it becomes a little bit more of a challenge.
Did you see how the story refers to the Wordles?
How does it?
Stranded on a series of unique islands set upon the back of giant Wordles.
Yes, I did see that.
With up to 4 players online. Explore, chop, craft, fish, cook, and solve your way to safety.
Yes, so that is a big aspect of the game that I didn't get to explore myself, but that was it was agreed upon that wouldn't be necessary for this review. Is that the game leans heavily on wanting you to have friends right there with you to help with the things. So when you're carrying something heavy, it drains your energy very quickly. Although your energy just immediately comes back, it's like it slows your character down for a little while. So if you're going for like good times and stuff, then forget it. But everything from like dragging logs to your base camp to like carrying a certain amount of supplies at a time, which, by the way, this game does let you carry, like, if it's the same thing, it lets you carry up to 3 at the same time, which is very nice. But yeah, if you look, your kid is like struggling to like drag one side of a log, but if you have a second player, they can pick up the other side of that log, and now you can move a lot faster and with less energy. Although I understand they rebalance it a little bit to where like trees are harder to chop down because they want you to have a second person on that too. So it becomes a little bit more of like an Overcooked type situation, right? Where you're like running in tandem with like your friends and stuff. So that's a big aspect of this game, but I can definitely attest you can play through this game with one player, no problem.
That's good.
Yeah. And I guess the turtles are unique. But the fact that it keeps being turtles is, a little weird. So yeah, it's a little bit of a departure from, like I said, the Survival Kids thing. Although it's not exactly as if Survival Kids isn't goofy, from the outset. For one, the entire premise of the game is that your father and your either boy or girl character are the two people on board a boat that then capsizes, but they show the boat and it's a cruise liner. It's like a Princess Cruise or something like that. And it's like, that's what two people, a guy and his like, preteen kid are like operating. And then, yeah, it was always very funny to me. But, yeah, the game's full of whimsy. It's full of fun. I would say this one seems to be more geared towards younger people. I would say the pace of it is actually a little more cozy than like frantic. Again, you don't actually have to worry about the survival part as much because, again, your character is going to survive no matter what. So it's more or less like playing the game at your own pace and getting the Chivos if you want them. So it becomes like a more relaxed experience, which I think is actually very fun. But, if you are like looking for something more akin to like what made the originals so special, then you may look twice at this one. But the only other thing is I will say this is a Switch 2 launch title. So like Mario Kart, one is looking for like ways in which this is going to be better than like a Switch game. And although the textures and graphics and colors, everything like that looks really good on this one, I will say if there's too much going on the screen, it does crawl. It does start to lose frames. It does get a little chuggy. So they may fix that in a patch or something, but I did notice that was in docked mode and in undocked mode. Certain islands that are a little bit bigger do tend to actually make it struggle for resources, which is what you're supposed to be doing,
Will your Switch 2 survive is the question.
Will my Switch 2 survive? It better.
Let's talk about price on this one. It is $49.99. It is Switch 2 exclusive, so you can't get this on the original Switch. And for those wondering, it is 2.6 gig. So for those space-conscious customers,
it's pretty
small. What do you think of this one, Chris?
Well, I'm going to say, of course, 49 is definitely a kick to all those people whining about, all the Switch 2 games are going to be $80. It's like, well, here's a $50 one right here. I'm going to say, I mean, for nearly half the cost of, Mario Kart or whatever, it's a solid experience. I will say the person I would give a glowing buy it to are people who want to play with their kids or like, maybe a less hardcore person who's like interested in playing it, like, team up. And I think it'll be a lot more fun that way. I say for a single player, it is a little, it's pretty cool if you play it cozy, I think. But, I did find a nice amount of challenge in going after the times and stuff. So I'm going to give it a buy it for folks who are into it and aren't like looking for just an updated version of like what the original Lost in Blues and Survival Kids were kind of going for. This one's more relaxed than those. And so that's the only caveat I'm going to give to people. And I'm hoping that the frame rate issue gets like a little bit buffed out, but it's honestly not prohibitive. It's just something I noticed and was like, well. So I'm giving it a buy it, but like with those caveats, basically.
All right, sounds good. Something to take note is that the store page mentions New Horizons exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2. Survival Kids takes full advantage of the console's unique communication and game sharing features, enhancing the gameplay experience and boosting the multiplayer fun. I'm not sure how the game sharing works on the Switch 2, as I don't have a reason to use multiple consoles. But for those who do the game sharing features and whatnot, there you go. Multiplayer fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of multiplayer aspects to it that I, like I said, did not get to explore really on it. So that would be something to like look at if you're looking at this game.
All right, next up, Star Overdrive, developed by Caracal Games, published by Dear Villagers, released June 19th, Series X and S, Switch, PS5, and PC for $34.99. Star Overdrive is a high-speed action-adventure set in an open world. Race across an alien planet on your hoverboard, mastering tricks, battling enemies, solving puzzles, and using your powers to overcome challenges and shape your destiny. I ruined that. I'm great. Pernell, tell us about Star Overdrive.
So the best way to describe this game, though I'm sure many have probably already heard it in this manner, is it's essentially Breath of the Wild in space with a hoverboard. I don't say that lightly. It's pretty damn accurate, with the exception of not having destructible weaponry, of course. The idea behind this game is that you play as a character who is exploring an alien planet, looking for traces or actually the actual whereabouts of his girlfriend who disappeared there on a job. He, at his disposal, has a keytar and a hoverboard to get him by. The world that you're exploring is actually surprisingly big, though unfortunately for the downside of it, it's not as popular as I would like it to be, but I kind of accept that a lot of it is just an excuse for you to have your hoverboard coasting across the surface of the planet. Also, kind of like it, I guess, in a lot of other reality concepts, there's not only what so many things are going to care about when you're exploring a vast space, but ultimately the game falls into a sort of a gameplay loop where you find yourself in a specific region of the planet. You are exploring the planet or the region for a couple of things, most notably a tower, which will give you areas of interest with which you can explore and find things on. And general, just those points of interest, with the hopes being activating power nodes and finding tapes to lead you closer to your girlfriend. But the actual exploration of the game is honestly pretty fun because most of it revolves around finding objects and items that will allow you to improve your hoverboard. So at the beginning of the game, your hoverboard can pretty much coast across the surface on the land. If you are just kind of using it, you'll go at a pretty mild pace, nothing crazy. But if you hold down A and then launch off of a ramp or a dune or whatever, and press A to jump, you'll launch upwards. And if you use the right chrome thumbstick, you can click it in different directions to pull off various tricks. Some that are more focused on you kind of staying from keeping from flipping over, getting hurt on the way down. Others are more extreme, i.e. the vertical flips that will, upon landing and landing the tricks perfectly, you'll get a burst of speed, which will allow you to continue, cruising across the dunes. In fact, the game is built around the idea that you're going to constantly, skate, dune, trick, land, watch, and repeat to get where you need to go. But over time, you may quickly come to find out that your hoverboard does not perform up to snuff. It might feel too slow, or it might not feel like it maneuvers pretty well, which is, oh my kidding, you're definitely going to feel like the thing doesn't maneuver very well, because that was why I almost told myself I didn't want to give this game a good review. I'm glad I was persuaded to try a little longer and get around that. Because while it didn't get a ton better, it can get better, because as you're exploring the planet, you will also find various pickups, objects, and items that when you discover workbenches, you can combine to form parts that can be strapped onto your hoverboard to increase a multitude of properties that it possesses, mainly being your speed, your boosting ability, you hang your danger tricks, your ability to control the board, power, which I kind of just presume was how much damage you do when you beat monsters with it, because also your hoverboard is your weapon that's used to beat the crap out of enemies. It's kind of funny that way. And then there's a couple other stats too, like your bond. I don't know. I didn't think I had to become friends with my board, but I don't know. Maybe it does something I haven't realized yet. I haven't paid attention to it. But you'll be able to combine these objects to produce parts that can be equipped to your hoverboard to increase its stats. And the more basically the more construction nodes you find, the better you become at engineering and producing these devices. In addition, you'll occasionally find gravitanium, which when you equip that to your hoverboard by way of the upgrade system, you will gain the ability to traverse different surfaces such as water, because early on you're going to find yourself particularly pissed off when you find yourself unable to cruise across surfaces of water. Now, another thing that is similar to Breath of the Wild in this game is that in addition to moving around and finding, exploring and finding objects, another thing that you'll find are ruins, basically abandoned mines, that when you explore them, they sort of like Super Mario Sunshine, they take away your ability to use your hoverboard while you're in those locations. But you will find a variety of different, collectibles and power nodes to strengthen your hoverboard there. But in some of them, you'll also find new abilities that you can use to channel your ability to explore the planet, such as the ability to pick up and throw objects. Sound familiar? It should. In addition to that, there's a couple other cool ones too. Like I was particularly fond of the jump pad that I found, though I'm not particularly fond of the ruins that you find it in, because it is a pain in the ass to get out of there, because, oh my God, they expect you to master the jump pad when you get the jump pad. Can you cut me some damn slack? No, they can't. Anyway, there are some pretty cool abilities you can get that you can utilize with your hoverboard as abilities to further explore and traverse the environment, which I do kind of like about the game. I also think that a thing I like about this game compared to, say, Breath of the Wild, though, your mileage may vary on this one, is the fact that anybody that knows me knows that one of my complaints about that game is that there's barely any music in the game. In fact, it's damn near silent. However, you can actually find cassette tapes in this game that you can actually snap into your character's Walkman, and it will play music as you're running around. So you can choose when you want to have music, which I genuinely feel Zelda should have done. If I want to just hear a remix of Tall Tall Heights, just let me tell the game to play it. And then when I don't want to hear it, turn it off. I mean,
that was something that they did, I think, really interestingly in Moon Remix RPG, is that you would find, like CDs or cassettes of like the soundtrack essentially, and you would just play them anytime and for however long you wanted to.
Yes, that just makes the most sense. Like I've heard people say, well, if they played music in areas, people would get sick of it because you're exploring. I'm like, so let me choose when it's playing. That's just not complicated. So more games do that. Do what we just described, because I hate games that are silent. I freaking love BGM, so it's punishing to not have it.
Same.
My man. So this game, though, I will say there are a few things about it that annoy me. I do enjoy surfing the planet. I do enjoy doing the time trials and the races, which are essentially exactly what they sound like. Dashing across the planet, hitting dash points and running through gates before time runs up, making sure you nail all the tricks and finding your shortcuts, yada, yada, yada. Surfing across the sides of walls before you run out of, kinetic energy that will make you fall off. I like all those things, even when the hoverboard is pissing me off because it doesn't want to turn as sharply as I want it to. I enjoy doing those things. Combat initially is a bit annoying. I get very tired of trying to beat enemies with my hoverboard, doing a very poor job of doing very little damage to them. But as you start getting more options through your kinetic abilities, like the grab ability and it's like a bit of a homing laser that you get, you kind of can cheese a lot of it. Just pick guys up, throw them against walls, make them bounce around until they fall apart. All kinds of cool stuff like that. So it makes combat better as you progress through it. But if you start playing the game and you're just fighting using your hoverboard and you find yourself thinking, this is pretty shitty, don't feel bad. A lot of people feel that way. I feel that way. But the combat becomes a bit better. And also the combat isn't the primary focus on this game also. I do kind of dislike the crafting system for improving the hoverboard. I don't feel as though I ever particularly mastered it or likely even did what the developers intended for me to do. What I started doing once I got sick of it was I would just focus, because there's 5 different types of parts. There's the wings and the sides. It's basically different parts. The engine, the wings, the plate. I had to look it up on the menu because I don't remember what they all are. But there's a multitude of different types. So what I would do is I'd get parts that contribute to the stat that part focused on and just dumped all those parts and almost only those parts into the, basically the tumbler that you fill up, then purchase that. And then boom, that's the part that I use to augment the stats. So I'm sure I didn't get the most out of what they wanted there, but it allowed me to progress through the game further, as opposed to letting myself remain idle and get stuck. Of course, you can also kind of slip a couple other parts on the sly if you're like, okay, speed can go on this part. It's not going to hurt the base stats that the actual part is meant to build on. I can do that. You're fine with doing stuff like that too. But ultimately, it kind of annoyed me that I had to go through the process of upgrading my parts over and over again. I'd rather just found the parts in treasure chests and go, oh, this part's better than my own. Let me equip it. Short and sweet and to the point. And it doesn't detract from the fact that I'm trying to just surf more and not sit at workbenches optimizing, bits to produce parts. I like the skill tree the game has. In fact, that's pretty much what it is. The only thing I don't like are the combat. I don't like the early combat. I don't like the construction of parts. And I wish I was experiencing more on the overworld, but I'm also okay with what I experienced on the overworld. Just wish there was more to it than that. But I do think the game deserves a fair shake by players who are curious about it. I feel if you like Breath of the Wild, then this is kind of a no-brainer because I think it changes enough about that formula to make it feel fresh for somebody to play. I just think it's a fine game. I think it's worth a try. It's not going to blow anybody's minds, but I do believe it will entertain you for some afternoons.
All right, well, let's talk price. It's $35. There's also a deluxe edition for $40 that includes, it includes 3 hoverboard styles, 1 hoverboard design, 50 dies, and then a manga and soundtrack DLC. So,
I mean, maybe for the manga and soundtrack stuff, but the fact that you notice I didn't even mention that you could customize the hoverboard's looks tells you how much I interacted with that.
Well, 35 on the game then. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a worthy try.
Very good. Andy's here. Andy Sperry, how are you doing?
Hey, everybody. What's up?
How goes it?
Radio Land. What's going on?
What's happening here, Radio Land?
How's everybody doing today?
Doing good. How's things with you?
It's really good to see you guys. I mean, I can see Joe. I got Joe.
Wow.
I can't see you guys, but it's really good to hear your guys' voices.
Just imagine a very short person drinking a Coca-Cola, mind his own business. And you got me.
Pernell, every time I picture you, I picture a very short person. But I know that's a lie. You're the tallest human I've ever seen in real life.
It's true.
You got
Stemage is here. What's
also
up, Stemage?
Hey, I'm tall. Not tall enough for 8'6" Pernell, but I'm still here.
Dude, right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
We're
saying.
all 150 pixels on the internet. So.
Pernell was standing in front of you. I couldn't see you there for a second.
That's right. Hey, get out of it.
What's happening, everybody?
Mercy. Okay. We survived the tornado over here. Got my games running. And
nice. Wait, a tornado? What?
I totally forgot to mention earlier. Yeah, we had a tornado last week. And
that's wild.
Somehow I had nothing happen in my house, but I had multiple friends lose power for multiple days. Trees were down, all kinds of shit. And I'm just sitting here going, thank you. I didn't even lose power. Nothing went bad here. So,
dude, score.
Just casual.
That's awesome,
there was a fucking tornado.
Very believe.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys. Aki, Chris, can't forget you guys too.
Good to see you too. Well, hear you.
We should all do video sometime.
I'm telling you, that'd be great.
One of these days. Well, Andy, your review's a little later on, so we'll get back to you in a little bit. But for now,
no, I've been here since the end of Survival Kids, just hanging out. Both of these games sound really awesome. I especially start Overdrive. I was looking that up, and I was like,
it looks really cool. It does look
tight.
Really neat.
Should put that on my wish list too.
It's time to talk about balls, though, right?
Nice. Let's get them.
How you feel about How you feel about pinball? Spirit?
Yeah, buddy.
Love it.
All right.
Give me them balls,
Squad
dude.
is back. Next game to talk about is Tomb Raider Pinball, developed and published by Zen Studios. Released June 19th as DLC for Pinball FX for $9.99. Relive Lara Croft's greatest adventures with 2 action-packed tables, from the legendary halls of Croft Manor to the mysterious tombs around the world. Test your skills, uncover secrets, and play through iconic moments from the Tomb Raider franchise. Grant, what is going on in Tomb Raider Pinball?
What is going on with Tomb Raider Pinball? I think this is the first time they have released a regular version and a VR version at the same time, which is new for them. Because they also have the VR version with like fun stuff that goes along with it. I played the Xbox version. This comes with 2 tables. One is The Secrets of Croft Manor. The other is Adventures of Lara Croft. Did you know that Lara Croft was originally to be named Lara Cruz? I did not know this.
I did not know that either.
I didn't know it.
There you go.
I'll be damned.
The more you know. I realized that like I pay attention to Lara Croft like once every 2 or 3 years. I haven't played all the games. I did play the old ones, but I appreciate the property. Although I feel like a lot of time it's just sort of Indiana Jones. But there's been some fun games in her catalog. Secret of Croft Manor. If you played any of the games, they almost always start in the mansion, and this first table sort of is just in the mansion in Croft Manor. It's training, it's studying. You can renovate the mansion. It's just basically hanging out with your butler, Winston. He's sort of the voice of the table. I think that both of these tables fall into a trap that Zen tables sometimes do, which is where a lot of the ways that you turn things on or enter modes or qualify things is just by shooting the same shot multiple times. I think you'd probably agree with this, Joe. It's kind of like shoot this ramp 3 more times for this, shoot this shot 4 more times for this, and shoot this shot 6 more times for this. So it's a lot of they call that chopping wood in pinball. And so there's a bit of that. I think these 2 tables have a bit of that. There's some other stuff in the second table, but this one especially is very much like a shoot the same shot over and over again kind of table. There's really like a qualifying process. Like in regular pinball, you shoot 3 targets that light something. You qualify a shot, and then you shoot that to get whatever you get. And it plays a bit differently than that. The coolest mode in this game is agility training. So if you remember the old games, the agility training was like one of the most frustratingly insane control feats on the PlayStation. A lot easier here. You basically use the left and right flippers to knock a ball up and down to dodge these beams that are coming left and right, which is actually pretty cool. The only problem is it's really slow. It's like frustratingly easy, even though it's super fun. So I wish they could, maybe you can change that stuff in table settings. I'm not sure, but kind of neat. Has a really cool upper play field, reminiscent of some real games. This table doesn't suffer from a problem that I have with some Zen tables, where whenever your ball rolls over the light that returns back to the flipper, in regular pinball, it will turn a light on. It turns the light on in the in lane, right? You're trying to light all the lights down there. And sometimes Zen tables will turn lights off. It's basically like taking points away from the player. And I'm of the mind that you should never do that in pinball. You should never take points away. And every other Zen table will do this. It's weird. I wish they would stop, but this one doesn't do that. So if you roll over a lit light, it won't turn it off. It won't take that away from you. It will just give you points and you move on trying to light up lights. I guess it's just the decision of whoever's designing that table, but that's kind of bothersome. Very few sound effects in this machine. I found that both these machines are a little lacking in the sound department. I think the music is pretty cool, but I feel like you don't get a lot of feedback on stuff you hit, like the targets and the ramps. The sound is kind of minimal, and I feel like when you're, trying to experience a world under glass, as they say, in pinball, you kind of need that. You need those point sounds. You need like little flourishes when you do something cool, and you're missing a bit of that here. There's like some whip cracks and some other stuff, but there's just not that much. Some other strange things. Sometimes modes would end, but there was never I never could find a timer that was counting down, and it wouldn't tell me the mode ended. The music just sort of changed. It feels a little half done, in my opinion, this particular table. And some of the geometry at the bottom half of the machine is really strange, and ball control can be rough. I was draining a lot. I nudge a lot on these tables, but I was draining a lot, and I found some videos of people having the same problem. And it's strange because all the main shots for every mode are right up the middle. You have to hit these targets that show up in the middle, and those shots almost always result in a drain. So it's a little frustrating, but not my favorite of the two. Adventures of Lara Croft is way more like what you'd expect. She's doing the tombs and the raiding. There's a ramp that says raid right on it. She's hunting for artifacts. She's doing what you do. This is the first Zen game that I've played that doesn't have a plunger that you can slowly pull back. You know, you can kind of like pull the plunger back and choose how far the ball goes up. This is just a button. You hit it, ball launches, and you try to hit a ramp. And I like that because it's new, it's different. A lot of the modern tables in the 90s had buttons instead of plungers. So that's kind of a new, cool thing. This table's really friendly. It's very symmetrical. You don't lose the ball nearly as much. There are you can hit a shot a couple times and enable these little miniature modes. There's a globe shot. You hit the globe shot 3 times and you can start a mode, or you can lock a ball for multi-ball, but you have to do it in like 10 seconds. It's like a timed thing. So I never actually ended up getting multi-ball on this table, which is it's a very strange decision to do that, but that was their call. Modes have a set length of time to complete them in, but you can shoot the globe to add more time. That's new. I don't think we've had that before, and I like that a lot. So if you're running out of time, you can shoot the globe one more time, get more time. There's a little tilt field, like a little area that you sort of tilt left and right, which is exactly the same as the one from the Indiana Jones pinball machine from the 90s. So they're clearly doing a nod to that, obviously. There's some target shooting, which is cool because Lara Croft has guns. And unfortunately, this table, while more fun than the first one, does suffer from the light thing I mentioned, where if you roll over a light, it's going to turn off. It's going to take the point away from you, which is kind of a bummer. But hey, can't win them all. This is also sort of lacking in the sound department. I hit this really hard jackpot shot. Yeah, it was a hurry up shot, so it was like I had to hit it super quick. There was no fanfare, there was no sound effect, there was no light blinks. I got a guy saying awesome, and then it was like right back to gameplay. No, like I feel like both these tables seem to lack a bit in the excitement category. And I don't think I'm an audio junkie, but I don't know if it's all audio related, but I do find that I'm not getting the feedback I normally would. There's a lot of, I'm not getting voices telling me what things to shoot for. A lot of the time they feel more generic, which makes me wonder if they'd recorded the voices and then figured out the rules. So I'm always trying to look over to the side to see what I'm supposed to do because the voices aren't telling me. So I'll say overall the tables shoot well. They're really pretty. And they've done some justice with the licenses, I think, but like I just feel like it's not their best collection. I like the second table the most. I like the adventures table the most, I think. I like being out in the wilderness instead of in the mansion. But I think they do both suffer from, they could have perhaps used a bit more time and a bit more testing maybe to make sure people knew what they're supposed to do and sort of help, juice up the experience a little bit. So that's kind of where I stand on these.
Well, luckily, all the tables on Pinball FX are downloadable in trial format to give the tables a spin on your own. This pack, if you want to keep them, $10 for 2 tables. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I would say, what is this? It's a buy it or a try it is what we're talking about here. This is the kind of game where you can try it. I mean, whether you're in VR or whether you're on one of the consoles, give it a shot. You can play the tables in full for a good minute, I think, just to kind of see how they feel. But I would probably try it, is what I would say for this one.
Sounds good. All right, next up, Crown Gambit, developed by Wild Wits, published by Playdigious Originals, released June 18th on Steam for $17.99. Plays 3 intrepid paladins through a terrible war of succession to save a sinister medieval kingdom from political turmoil. Pick a side amongst noble families to choose the future monarch and crush those who stand in your way through board-shattering tactical card combat. Pernell, what's going on in Crown Gambit?
So, Crown Gambit is, I think it's basically a narrative adventure wrought with very important choices and decisions of which you will have to make, where you, as 3 intrepid paladins, as you said in your blurb, are tasked with basically a number of events. I only want to say because it changes as the game progresses. Ultimately trying to resolve an uprising in the kingdom in regards to the heirship for the throne. And this game takes place in a form of, it's essentially like a narrative adventure. You'll go into various chapters, and the characters will have discussions with other characters in themselves. At times, you'll get a choice of what you want to say. Sometimes that choice can be made by any of the 3 paladins in question as regards to how to address a situation. After you've experienced a narrative segment or whatnot, you might find yourself going along the road to progress through to the next location. During the road progression, that kind of feels a little bit like a typical like Slay the Spire. I don't know. There's a number of games that do this where you have the nodes, basically like the roguelike vibe where you connect nodes and choose where you want to go. But in the case of this game, it's not necessarily just about what rewards you're going to get by choosing a location. Sometimes it's about, the reason why you'd want to choose a location. For example, you might be in a situation where, from a narrative perspective, your characters need to get to somewhere very quickly. So now you're faced with a choice. Do you want to take the straight and narrow route that may be fraught with danger, or do you want to take the slow and steady route that can be stealthily, treaded stealthily, but at the expense of you losing time to do it? At this point, you'll make your decision, and then you'll progress down that node. Furthermore, once in a while, you might find yourself set up in a situation where you have to get into a bit of a skirmish. And that is when the next meaty part of the game kicks in, and that is the combat. It is sort of like those Square Enix games that they did where everything was based off of the front face of a playing card. Because in this game, all of your characters and all of the opposing units take the form of a card, and they are strewn about on a playing field that is laid up out of spots that can be occupied by cards. The characters themselves also have moves that are attributed to cards. On a turn, all of your characters, all 3 of your paladins, get some action points. They don't all get the same amount of action points, so just assume that they might have about 2 or 3 or so. And these action points can be used to do a number of things. You can use them to move around the board. Pretty standard. You can use them to attack an enemy that is adjacent to you. Also pretty standard. The attack power is determined by your base stat for your character. In addition to that, you can use one of those stats to encourage a paladin that is adjacent to one of the others. The encouragement will increase their strength by 1, thereby increasing their attack power by 1. However, if you don't want to do any of those things, you got your cards as well. Every turn, each paladin will draw a certain number of cards from their respective decks. And some of those cards can be used for free. Some of those cards have an action point cost, and others can actually just be carried over and reserved to the next round. And of course, those cards also have varying effects, such as applying stat elements, or boosting your armor stat for added defense, healing, and attacking across a number of different space distances. So you'll be using those to the best of your ability, hopefully pulling off some bit of synergy to wipe out the opposition as quickly as possible. Though, the game also has another added element to this combat structure that is one of those be careful what you wish for bits, or be careful how you use it, because it is extremely powerful. And that is the ancestral charge version of the cards. Every card you have access to, every card, has the ability to use its ancestral form. Typically, when a card is used, or not, at the end of a turn, it goes to your discard pile. And then when you've run out of cards, it reshuffles, bam, it comes back to you. However, if you decide to use the ancestral form of the card, you get a much, 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 much better effect of the ability or attack. But then the card gets burned and you don't have it for the rest of the battle. So use it when you absolutely need it. However, the trade-off to this also is that there's an ancestral charge gauge that will fill up for each paladin as they use these abilities. And it's permanent until story events allow you to remove it. Story events that do it, admittedly, are definitely a spoiler, so I will not tell you what those are. Just know, short of those story events occurring, you cannot remove these things. Now, why is this an issue? I mean, you're getting ultimate juice, ultimate power. What's not to love? Well, the problem is, depending on how bad off your ancestral charge is, you might be running around with a ×3 power buff because you're, freaking out. But unfortunately, that may come in to bite you during the story sequences of the game, because there are scenarios where you might be engaged in a conversation and get the option to make a choice or two, and then your character's ancestral charge will kick in, and they'll just lose their ever-loving mind and just snap and make the absolute suboptimal choice, costing you story beats. Because this game does branch into different pathways, and you will get more than one ending as you play through it. It's like a roguelike. I don't know if I want to call it a roguelike, but I guess I can. It feels like no, I'm not going to do that shit. Just think of it as like a choose your own adventure that feels like you're playing a roguelike, like a Darkest Dungeon, but it's actually going to take you a couple of hours to get through it. And then you'll want to do it again to see how you'll do differently the next time. It's that kind of thing. So beware, because if you end up using too much juice, you might find yourself making some pretty stupid choices. Hell, the game, when it teaches you this, it happens because until the game tells you what's going to happen, you're not going to think there's a bad thing here. And I mean, I kind of spoiled that for you, but whatever. It's a tutorial. You might come back to the game on a future run and intentionally not do what the tutorial tells you to do because you want to see if things play out differently, or if you have the ability to have things play out differently. So that's what I mean by that. It's a very interesting gameplay mechanic in the sense that you can have ultimate power at the expense of your character's soul and therefore the way they react to situations in the story. At the end of a battle, you don't actually get experience points, but you do get to choose one of 3 perks. And from what I can tell, is always within the same realm, being one is a healing ability, so you can heal your paladins, because depending on the difficulty you choose, they may get some healing after battle, they might get none. So that becomes very important. You have the ability to increase the max HP stat or armor stat of one of your characters, or sometimes all of them. Or you might get a really nice perk that can be carried over into the next battle. So you have to choose wisely which one of those you want. Furthermore, at the end of a chapter or so, you might find yourself getting the ability to upgrade your character's playing deck, i.e. a very rudimentary but still nice card tree, where you can choose a card from one of 3 different categories for each of your paladins, thereby determining how you decide to build up their deck and therefore their play style as well. So those are pretty much the mechanics that take place in the game. But I will say there's not really a thing about this game I dislike. They're even courteous with your time in regards to letting you redo battles by just choosing it from a menu. But the music is great. The art style is great. The dialogue, whoever wrote for this game did a fantastic job with the writing. Everything about this game is good. I am a fan. And it's one of those games that came out of nowhere for me, so I'm glad it came up on this manner, because that means I got to experience it, enjoy it, and now I can recommend it to everybody else.
Well, let's talk price on it. It is $17.99. If you buy it before July 2nd, you can get it for $16.19. But for $18, what do you think?
Easy buy it recommendation. This game is worth your time.
Jazzy. Sounds good.
Jazzy.
All right, next up, REMATCH, developed by Sloclap, published by Sloclap and Kepler Interactive, released June 19th, Series X and S, PS5, and PC for $29.99. Also available on Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Control one player on your team and compete in fast-paced 5v5 matches from an immersive third-person perspective. Team up with your friends and join the action. Andy, what is REMATCH?
Well, Joe, remember the other day when you were like, man, I really wish they would take Rocket League and then just replace the cars with humans. And I was like, Joe, have you ever heard of REMATCH before? Here we go, dude. I mean, that's pretty much it. So REMATCH is
What's
like
Rocket
I said,
League? Imagine soccer, but with cars. What's REMATCH?
Dude,
imagine Rocket League, but without cars.
I mean, that's pretty much it. It's like, oh man, it's Rocket League Inception. right now. I mean, that's pretty much it. You got to imagine Rocket League, which is basically just like indoor soccer, like you said, high speed cars, but then you take away the cars and then reinsert people. So it's wild. It's mainly an online gaming experience. So in Rematch, you'll control your own character. You've got a team competing in either like 3v3, 4v4, or 5v5 matches. After the match, you'll gain levels based on your gameplay experience. So if you passed, or you saved goals, or you ran around a bunch and saved some stuff. On the pitch to unlock, you'll unlock eventually ranked mode, which is what you're going for, which is solely a 5v5 experience. So I would say like in this too, like a 3v3 is really good for kind of like honing your skills, and it's like a little tighter map. 4v4 and a 5v5 kind of give you that experience of like a fast-paced like indoor soccer. Without it being like over the top, there's a lot of casual players. The game just came out, so there's a lot of casual players like so far. It sets itself up as like a new approach to like the familiar game of soccer. Like I'm gonna say soccer a lot, football, whatever you guys are into. It's the same thing depending on where you're from. It's a little more fast-paced and skill-based. There's no fouls in this one. There's no offsides. It's pretty much just you and your teammates running, trying to be the best. It kind of kicks things off with like a little like story-like prologue to the game as well too. Explores the idea of like you being like a rising star, catching the eyes of those on the top of the leagues, where you're essentially trying to like persevere and become the best you can be. This kind of takes you through like a little tutorial as well, just going over like basic mechanics, kicking, running, receiving the ball from other teammates. Things get a little tougher with like goalie and defensive training. Excuse me. Strapping on those gloves to dash, dive, and cover the ball before the other team scores a goal. Goalies, along with the last line of defense, known as the striker. I don't know if you guys know that I coach soccer as well, too, in real life. So
you're qualified.
I qualify to play this game. Exactly. Yeah. So if I throw any terms out there that you guys don't understand, please just stop me and ask me again. But the last line of defense is the striker. So both of those guys, the striker and the goalie, get infinite stamina bars, and it kind of helps them just like to dash and dispose of the ball quickly, get it up to the forwards and everything. There's not really like positions in this one. So if somebody is like runs back to the goalie, like they almost like transform into the goalie. Like, you get gloves on and you kind of like move a little bit differently. You take a little more defensive stance and stuff. So that was really neat because, sometimes you get people that would run out and just not want to be goalie. I'm always, especially these games, I'm all about like positioning. So, and then in between each goal, everybody kind of switches position too. So if you were a forward last time, like you might be a goalie next time, or you might just change position on the field, which I thought was kind of interesting as well. There's options in the game to train up and practice, like after the whole prologue thing. There's tutorials and movement, with and without the ball. There's defensive, there's passing, there's scoring and goalkeeping tutorials. Each practice tutorial comes with like 1 or 2 different practice drills. Moving the ball, shooting at targets, lobbing the ball, like those kind of things. Completing those within a certain time limit will provide a score. You're ranked of like 1, 2, or 3 stars. And you can do those over and over again if you want to. It's kind of a nice thing to like go back to in all of those. Like I did that with Rocket League quite a bit too, where I just kind of like refresh my skills a little bit, before I jumped into games. So the game itself is a timed indoor experience. It's like team versus team matches. You'll either play with random teammates, or if you can get a group of 3, 4, or 5 people together, you guys can all play together.
Which is unfortunately, ideal. Let's be honest.
That's ideal. Yeah, they have voice chat in there too. You know, if you're playing with randoms, I usually turn that off because a lot of people are sweaty or just like very toxic, you know, in those games. So I didn't even try to like experience that. I was like, no. My buddy actually has been playing it too, and he was saying yesterday he was playing and he scored a goal after he touched the ball like one time, and he was like, he's like, I touched the ball once and I score a goal. I'm so good. But he didn't realize his mic was on too. And so like somebody else like on his team was like, hey man, good job, dude. He's like, oh shit, I'm sorry, man. But he's like, I didn't mean to gloat like that, you know, but they ended up playing like some games together too, so you can kind of like stick with the same teammates, like if everybody's like synergy is right, you know. But I would say getting a group of friends together, hop on Discord or hop in the game chat, you know, and like go about it that way is much better. Also during games, it's soccer, you goal based, you know. So if you score 4 goals, if you have a 4-goal lead, it automatically ends the game too. So there's no like extreme blowouts. Yeah, you're not sitting there with like 3 minutes left and it's like 9-1, you know, or something like that.
That's good, at least.
Yeah, I thought that was really nice
hurts
too.
Those who want to like game comeback, but
so the first game I hopped into, we ended up winning 4-0, and I was kind of surprised, and I was like, well, we're just really good, you know. But it's like the day after it came out, so everybody was new to it. So but I thought it was really nice just for that one reason, so you're not like, you know, just wasting everybody's time and people quitting. I mean, you already have the toxic side of people quitting, you know, in the middle of games, you know, as soon as somebody scores a goal or something like that.
It's 1-0, better quit.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's nothing you can do about that, but the controls themselves in the game are pretty easy to understand. Passing, lobbing the ball, you can do like rainbows. There's like, sorry, I gotta get a drink of water real quick. Hold on. I'm dying over here. Yeah, the controls are pretty easy to understand. You can walk with the ball, you can dribble, you can run. There's a weird like double tap to run with the ball, but you lose the ball with it too, so you almost have to like lob it in front of you and then almost like pass it to yourself. I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing that I experienced, and I didn't really like that side of the controls, but there's a few things I'll talk about later in this review that could be better. But it's all indoors, so you can bounce it off walls. You can like do a rainbow over a player, you know, which is pretty cool. You can head the ball. I thought it was really neat because you can curve shots into the goal, and it's really funny to see opposing goalies like dive the completely wrong direction in order to save it. I find that absolutely hilarious. So I overall think it was like a really enjoyable experience. And I know, Joe, always getting to the end, you're going to ask me about the $30 price tag. But I wanted to kind of dive into like some things that I think need to be addressed as far as like improvements. I don't want to like shit on the game or anything like that too.
Hey, if a game has problems, we got to talk about them.
Yeah, it's not that it just could use some polishing. So like in its current state, it, to me, and I know my opinion is kind of biased because I get the games for free, you know, or from the developers. It feels like a free-to-play counterpart to Rocket League, almost like a Rocket League Junior. And I know Rocket League's been around for a while, so I don't want to compare it to that, but it's very similar if you're looking at the two and playing the two. I would love to see in the game more options for training modes. There's like 1 to 2 training games, which is fine, like depending on the like whether you're doing goalie or defensive training or anything like that. But once you beat them, and they're pretty easy to beat, there's like no reason to go back to them unless you're trying to do like tutorials or stuff like that. Some more custom game modes would be really cool as well. Like I was messaging you earlier, Joe, about maybe that message didn't make any sense too that I sent you. But like there's I know like a basketball based game, you know, where you're like lobbing the ball into a basket, or I was thinking like a dodgeball would be really cool, or tag with the ball, or golf or something like that. Or even like you know how they have like Quidditch with the ring in the middle to shoot the goal through there. Like something like that, you know, just to kind of switch things up a little bit.
Well, it is still early in the life of this game, so that could be in the future plans, different modes, different everything. Like you got to save stuff for the future. So we'll see how the game develops and
exactly. And
evolves.
that, I mean, there's improvements. I mean, it's only been out for what, like 5-6 days or something. I think it came out on the 19th, right?
Yep.
And so I'm not, you know, like I said, I'm trying not to shit on it. Like just things that I would like to see. It's like, you know, there's some improvement to mechanics. Like I said earlier, like moving quickly or like trying to dash, like you'll lose the ball. And so there's kind of this weird, like quick dash, like pass forward, stop, start kind of feel to it. I don't know. It's a little awkward. Training modes would be really nice if there was like a retry option. Like generally you have to like go back through the menu and like quit out and then go back through the menu to like get back to the training mode instead of just a quick restart. That was kind of frustrating. And then you know, there's more places like sceneries to play on too, but a lot of those are locked behind like the level system in the game too. So there is customizable options. Obviously you can like change the way your character look. Most people, if you're playing the game, wear as little as possible, which I find absolutely hilarious. You got a bunch of bald, like shoeless players running around. And so that's really funny. But there is like, as you level up and stuff like that, that is one of the things that you gain is not only like shin guards and cleats and new jerseys and hairstyles and things like that. You also get new areas and new sceneries to play on too, which is kind of fun. But I don't know. I feel like having just those already available would be nice. Remapping controls, forfeit options, ball tracking camera would absolutely make this game way better. And like I mentioned earlier, it's an online experience, and they had problems coming out with crossplay.
Yeah,
which I totally get. You know, I'm not trying to like, you know, bash on them or anything. That happens to games, but it was just the whole kind of thing feels very early access to me. Maybe, it's like not quite ready to be released. It's a very potatoes game, I would say. There's no meat. If that makes sense, I don't know. That's what I've been thinking the last couple days. Is like, man, this is just a potatoes game, dude.
You have a button for that.
Idaho potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Potatoes, dude. But I mean, that's I don't know. Yeah, hit the potatoes butt, dude. But yeah, if you can get a couple of people, I mean, you can ask me about the $30 price. I know that's your favorite thing to do.
Well, it's my job. That's all I do on this show. The game is $29.99. For the people who are on the fence about this one, it is available as part of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So if you have Game Pass, which, you know, you need Game Pass to play online. So if you have Ultimate, it's in there waiting to be played. $30 though. Give us your thoughts.
Doesn't feel like a $30 game to me. It feels like a free. I'd pay $10 for this game, you know, where it is right now. But definitely feels early access. Definitely needs some improvements. And yeah.
But play it via Game Pass.
Play it via Game Pass, yeah.
There you go.
Heck yeah, dude.
All right, next up, Bambas, developed and published by DevilishGames, released June 27th, Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $14.99. Remember when the streets were your playground, where every curb, puddle, or sidewalk became part of an epic mission? Bambas brings that magic back, offering a sandbox game that lets you relive those carefree adventures with its innovative control system. Aki, tell us about Bambas.
Okay, in this, you play as a pair of disembodied shoes, along with everyone else who talks to you. You're just a pair of shoes. and you're introduced to the world and told, hey, go turn off all these sprinkler systems. You just have to walk over and step on them because they're broke. So you head out and you go and hopefully figure out how to step on the fucking things. And then you just get to fiddle around with the world. Woo! So there's not a lot to say story-wise for this one. It is just a sandbox. You go around, you do stuff. You have a whole bunch of little things you can do, like stepping on 100 cans, kicking a whole bunch of different poops, stepping in 100 different puddles, crushing bits of paper, what have you. All of them have counters on them. There's a counter for how far you can kick something, which is a big pain in the fucking ass.
Is there a story at all in this? Is there any direction? Or is it really
not
just
really
a sandbox of just go have fun?
It's a sandbox of go have fun.
Huh.
At least I didn't come across any story. Except for there's one tiny problem with this game to me. You're disembodied, but that doesn't mean you're not connected. You're still behaving as though there is a body attached to you, which is a big fucking annoyance. So for this game... Sorry about that.
Aki's dying.
Yeah, basically. Spittle went down the wrong hole. Fuck.
Grant, do you want to write a tribute to Play at her funeral?
Please make it vulgar
sure.
and pornographic.
Vulgar.
I thought you were going to say the biggest annoyance was not enough nudity in this one.
No, technically, since everyone's shoes, everyone is already nude. So it's a perfect level of nudity.
There you go.
But you end up controlling the shoes both together and separately at the same time, I guess. This is very much like a Bennett Foddy style game or Baby Steps, things like that. It is going to upset you and annoy you because that is how you control your feet. You have both triggers. Each one lifts up a foot, and then you have to use that thumbstick to move that foot around. And then once it's placed, you can lift up the other one and move it around and place it. So you end up getting your feet all over the fucking place in bad directions. And the control is ghastly. We'll say that instead of dog shit. So it's ghastly. It is so unnecessarily annoying to try and move these feet around and have them angled in different directions that you need them angled for things. Because there's some stuff that seems like it's, because I haven't been able to succeed at them, I have to assume it requires you to be placed very specific places. Like, there was one little thing that I could do where it was like, oh yeah, I'm going to teach you a dance move. And you had 5 steps to it. Literally just 5 places to put your feet. I couldn't get any of my feet to line up with any of the things properly and couldn't complete it. Yeah, there was a game of hopscotch. You had the step into the correct squares, because obviously hopscotch, everything is numbered in it, and just in case anyone hasn't played that. And if you stepped across the line of any of them to where you were basically standing in 2 of them, you failed and had to start all the way back at the beginning. And it was really hard because it isn't like, oh, you push your thumbstick forward and then you release it and the foot hovers there. No, it comes right back to where the starting point. So you have to put it out and you have to inch it along until it's right where you need it. And then you have to hit the fucking trigger button to get it to step down. And then you do the other foot. And it becomes very unwieldy to try and move these damn feet where you want the fucking things. And
Aki, did you try the Baby Steps demo on Steam yet?
No, because I don't want to put a hole through my fucking TV screen.
And did you play it?
I loved it.
What are your thoughts on these kind of games?
With you?
I love troll games like this.
Get Bambas then.
I'm watching the trailer for it, and I'm like, this doesn't look entertaining to me.
I thought it was going to be a nice little chillax game. I didn't realize you were going to have to move each foot independently like this. I just thought, oh, you're just going to move forward and run around. You just don't have a body. That's cute. Cool. Mm.
I mean, the company name is DevilishGames, so...
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to that. Yeah, they're fucking evil incarnate. I will definitely give them that. They have the correct name. So yeah, this game is never going to get 100%ed for me. This game, just talking about it, I can feel my blood pressure rising. So yeah, it's bright, it's colorful, it's cute.
Give us your thoughts on Bambas.
How pissed off do you like to be on a normal day, folks? If it's very, I suggest this. Everyone else, fuck no.
So, Andy, you're going to want that.
Yeah, if you like games like Bennett Foddy, I 100% recommend this. This is going to be great. It's bright, it's colorful, it's really pretty. I hate it.
That kind of is a ringing endorsement to some people.
Yeah, for people who like the Bennett Foddy style games, those troll games, what I just said is that's all they need to know.
Bennett Foddy is Quap, and he's making baby steps.
Yes, baby steps. He's not. I don't think he's making. He's not making baby. Is Bennett Foddy attached to baby steps? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that is him and Devolver.
Yeah, because some people just hate themselves, and they need a video game to remind them that they hate themselves. That's why these games exist.
Kuzilo, Maxi Botch. Bennett Foddy, published by Devolver. But Bambas is published by DevilishGames, and your official verdict on Bambas?
If you like Bennett Foddy, get it. Everyone else, you're not going to like this, so stay away.
Cool. Next up, April Grove, developed and published by Colorgrave, released June 23rd on Steam for a whopping $2.99. Undertake your new job as a forester in a mystic and peaceful wood. Chop, gather, level up, and unravel the expansive forest and its splendor at your own pace, one log at a time. Pernell, what's April Grove?
April Grove is somebody saying, I miss Game Boy style Harvest Moony feeling games, and I want to do that again, but with less steps. And that's what April Grove is. You play as a boy or a girl, and you are tasked with chopping down trees because you're in this new town called April Grove, and you are not at Angel Grove. You are not an upcoming Power Ranger. Instead, you're actually coming to usurp the previous woodcutter who is retiring from his job and take it over for yourself. What does this entail? Chopping down trees. Lots of trees over and over again. Because that is literally the game. You start out with... you only start with the axe. No, you do start with an axe. Okay. You basically start out with nothing but an axe. And as you're walking around this little small hamlet, you'll occasionally come across a tree. If you try, and you can, you will chop it down. Chopping down the tree yields you logs and experience points for leveling up your tree. You're leveling up your woodcutter. What do you do with the logs? Well, you take them to town or to one of the various, deposit stations that you can pay money to have constructed around in the forest or whatever. You deliver them and you'll get paid for them. You don't get paid much, but you get paid something. Now, this world, this place you're at, is blessed by a wood spirit named April, hence the name April Grove, which results in the trees growing back indefinitely. This place will never run out of wood. So that means that you might chop down a tree, take 5 steps to start chopping down a tree that's next to it, and then bam, the tree you just chopped down comes back. You can chop it down again. And you will chop it down again until you fill up inventory space, which then you will go and turn it in to get some money. There are a few facilities that will open up in town, such as a shop that you can spend your hard-earned money on to purchase various items that were essentially meant to upgrade your character. Though, to be perfectly honest, I got to a point where I just started hoarding my money to purchase, expanding area ways to get around the map more. Because most of the way the upgrade system works in this store is that everything has its own base price. But every time you purchase something, the shopkeeper says, "Oh, I'm successful. Time to raise all my prices," and everything becomes more expensive. So everything becomes more expensive, that it almost outpaces the value that you get from the trees even. As you start being able to level up, you start becoming strong enough to cut down more valuable trees, which means your income will go up, but then everything else goes up in cost too. So you don't even notice a sense of progression in your money. It's just more money to spend on more expensive stuff. You can also go to a restaurant where the proprietor rather, will sell you food that will give you a temporary buff until the food value runs out. And of course, there's April herself in the Grove, where every once in a while she'll task you with chopping down and delivering a certain number of a certain type of log. I'm pretty sure she goes through the entire log library before she's done. But the funny thing about this game is that, one, I love Colorgrave games, so that was why I wanted to try this initially. But as I was playing, I went, there's not a whole lot going on here. Hell, the trees grow back just as soon as I chop them down, so I don't even have to go and find multiples of the same type of tree. I could just mine the same two that are close together over and over again until I upgrade to chop down another tree. But here's the sad part. I played for hours because it does that thing. It does the thing where you just want to see what happens when you get to the next level. And you know what's going to happen. You'll chop down a stronger tree. But you
that
don't care.
one more thing game. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's so strange. It probably doesn't hurt that the music in this, albeit repetitive, is very, very good. It's very soothing. It really hits the spot. It is a comfortable, cozy game. And you just kind of want to see the whole thing through.
The soundtrack.
Yeah.
Which is also available on Steam, by the way.
It's very good music in this game. Very good music. But it just felt weird to me that I'm sitting here just chopping down oak trees and knowing the next tree is a willow. I can see a willow tree. And the worst part is that the progression further out rarely feels like you're getting rewarded anything substantial. Like, for example, you might go into a cave. Whoa, the cave is dark. Man, I wish I could see what's on the other side of that. Well, the shop sells a lantern. How much does it cost? Well, it depends on how much shit you've already purchased. It can be pretty expensive by now. You finally go out and say, okay, hey, now my lantern's $800. I'll pay the $800. Now I got a lantern. Let's see what awesome stuff's in this cave. Well, I found a treasure chest that contained 100 coins, and the exit yielded 3 willow trees that I wasn't strong enough to chop down yet, and a box I could construct to deliver them from that island that cost $1,400. Well then, that lantern's going back in the box because I just spent all my money for a lantern that yielded a mild gain. But I then went back to chopping down oak trees because I wanted to just keep chopping down trees.
That's beautiful.
I don't know. I'm going to spoil it. I'm giving it a fucking why not, because I played the shit out of it. Yeah, I'm having a hard time telling you why I think you should do the same thing. I just know it works. It did the job. I did not want to stop playing it. That's ridiculous. But
all right,
I like the game.
All right, well, you already answered, so I guess I'll just ask again. The game is $3. The soundtrack is $5.
Strange.
Fuck it, why not? Just go on and get it.
There you go.
You'll enjoy your time. You won't know why, but you will. And then you'll go, okay, time to find another game that does this, which is probably going to be something like Plantera. I don't know.
Good stuff. All right, we got one final game to talk about tonight. That is Look Outside, developed by Francis Coulombe. I don't know. I'm so sorry. Published by Devolver Digital. Released March 21st on Steam for $9.99 with the 1.5 update hitting June 19th. Look Outside is a survival horror RPG set in a single apartment building. A mysterious event turns anyone who looks out the window into grotesque monsters, leaving the world in absolute chaos. Scavenge the building to seek food, supplies, and weapons while encountering strange characters. Aki, you deal with strange characters on this show every week, so how is it different in Look Outside?
Well, all these creatures are better looking than Jacob, so, you know, there's that. Okay, so this is an older style game. It's a top-down view, kind of a point-and-click RPG. And yeah, you play as just some mook who's living in this apartment, and one night the entire planet gets butt-fucked by some strange phenomenon of weird colors and shit in the sky, apparently.
Away with words, Aki.
I know, right? And people decided, you know, some of them decided to look outside, and they figured out real quick, you don't fucking do that. And everyone else realized real quick, oh shit, now we have to survive all these jackasses who did this. Oh no, woe is us. Because everyone turns into a whole bunch of damn nightmarish creatures. Some of them retain some of their human intelligence. Most of them seem not to. And like, this reminds me very much of like Spiral and stuff like that, for anyone who's read that manga series, where just weird shit is happening and it's all caused by the same thing, and people become freaks of nature and don't realize it, and everyone else just kind of has to survive and live with it. So you have to find food in this place, you have to find makeshift weapons in this place, and you have to deal with the monstrosities that people have become, as well as there are just nightmare creatures that are moving around that don't seem to have ever been people at any point. There are violent and non-violent ways of dealing with some individuals, seemingly not all of them, based on whether you find objects or not that could appease them without having to murder the shit out of them. There are some moral quandaries. For instance, one guy was a painter, and his painting was himself, and other versions of him started coming out of this painting. Mutated, grotesque fucking things. But he also looked out at the sky, so we don't know what version of him is the real version. The one that looks like a person may not actually be him. It might be a painting. One of these grotesque freaks that he's ordered us to kill, who all also want you to kill all the other ones so they can be the original, if they aren't already the original. They all want you to kill everybody else as well. So you end up being like, well, who do I leave alive at the end of this? Who do I think is the original? Do I leave any of these jackasses alive to the end of it, or do I just obliterate all of them? Because fuck it, why not? The game is... It has two difficulties. It has normal and easy, and both of them are really fucking hard. You have limited... Yeah. You have limited amount of time throughout your day to do stuff. Every new area you go to advances the clock a little bit, and so you're going into battles, and these things don't fuck around. You might do like 8 damage, they might do like 18, and you might have like 40 or 50 health, so you end up going through all your food items and healing items very quickly. You have really powerful attacks that you can use with individual weapons. They are all based on the weapon that you actually have, and any of them can cause damage to the weapon, which could cause it just to break, and if it breaks, it's gone. Now you have to find a completely different weapon, and enemies aren't going to just wait around while you do that. So yeah, there's also really strong enemies that are all over the damn place, and the game isn't set up to be like, hey, don't go into this area, everything's gonna butt fuck you sideways. No, it's like, hey, here's a room, why don't you enter it? You get to see what's there, and then you walk in, you get butt fucked sideways. So, you know, it's great fun like that. It does have saving anytime.
Is that your new kink this week, by the way?
Butt fucked sideways? No. Yeah. It's just a saying that I miss saying, so I started using it again. And yeah, on easy, I believe it's every time you enter a new room, you get an automatic save. So there's that. in case a fight goes really fucking badly.
Well, Aki, I got to stop you right there because you're not allowed to say that word anymore. Trash Rando says we cannot swear.
You. I hate you. I hate you with the strength of 1,000 stars. You have no idea.
Wait, what
Trash
is that?
Rando.
Just redeemed a channel point reward where we're not allowed to curse for 10 minutes. Aki for 5.
So what happens if she does?
Timer starts over and we do it again.
Oh, well, that's easy.
I hate this so much.
Bad for us. Just start doing Purple Monkey Dishwasher and other such gobbledygook.
That is not how my brain. That's not how my brain functions.
Time to adapt for 5 minutes.
Anyway, look outside.
I forgot where I was now. Why? Why did you do this?
Gobble.
You were talking about the game.
Yeah, that don't help though. I think I mentioned the autosave feature on easy, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So don't yell at them.
She's broken. She's broken.
So if you end up dying to a fight soon after you enter a room, you're able to just reload your save. You'll be right at the beginning of that room, and you can just leave. Oh, I hate this. And occasionally you'll find other people. Many of them are messed up mentally, physically, all that fun stuff. And some of them seem crazy, but they can still be added to your team. So you can expand your group to include other people. I got some big crazy lady who was wearing like a Jason, I think it's Jason, the hockey mask. That's Jason, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, a Jason mask and a big knife. So that was fun. She was really strong. Her knife broke almost immediately, so she was absolutely useless. So yeah, the more you use your special abilities, all the characters have them, the more likely the weapons are to break. And they do mention that it can damage the blade, and it is up to luck on whether the blade, blunt object, what have you, it gets damaged. So it's kind of a real pain in the behind. I'm having so much trouble thinking because I have to think now. I'm used to just saying stuff, and now I have to think really hard to make sure I'm not saying cuss words. Stuff? And it's so hard.
Like what?
Like what? Huh?
So anyway, the 1.5 update has some crafting updates, some new interactions with Tickle. Sound like a fun character. New items, achievement images have been updated. You can craft more powerful healing items in the game. There's a flooded basement.
Yep.
Sounds fun.
I haven't actually
increased the threat level of most enemies in the flooded basement. So it sounds like they're working on keeping the game entertaining and updating it and continuing to add to the game. It is $10 on Steam. What do you think about it?
If you like really, really hard survival games where you're going to end up having to craft a whole lot of weapons because they all break on you and you have to throw you don't even get scrap from them afterwards. They're just gone. If you like stuff like that, then this is totally for you. Like me and you, Joe, this is not a game for us at all. Because the crafting is irritating because you have to find the parts around in different places where there are always a bunch of enemies. And weapon durability is garbage. And it's very difficult. But if you like that old style, extremely hard game, this is definitely for you. I don't know how anyone's going to play it on normal because easy is already incredibly difficult, but you do you. I think one of the major things with this game between easy and normal is normal you don't get autosaves and enemies do more damage, I think. So they already do too much as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I have trouble recommending this to all but like the most serious of hardcore fans of this genre. Everyone else stay away from this. You're not going to like it.
I'm kidding.
All right, sounds good. And with that, we are finished with the episode, but we're still live, so you're not allowed to curse yet, Aki. Thanks to everyone for hanging out through the whole show, being here, keeping us company. Grant,
I feel like I might have an aneurysm.
You're welcome.
Poor Aki. Poor Aki, Chris, Pernell, Andy, Grant. Great having all you here, hanging out.
Yeah, dude.
Grant, anything music-wise you got going on?
Let's see. Any new releasey stuff? No. I don't have anything at the moment. Beardo's new Byzantine record dropped. I don't know if you knew about that.
Yeah.
Beardo's and it's quite good. And he sings on one of the tracks. A couple of tracks, I think.
Cool.
But
I don't know if we could play that.
I've seen him in
show.
years.
Really?
Yeah.
Not with that attitude.
I wonder if I would get a strike on YouTube for playing Byzantine.
I bet you wouldn't get a strike. I bet you'd get a non-monetization thing.
Maybe.
I don't think you'd get a strike. I don't think they're big enough for that.
Should I risk it for the biscuit?
Don't know.
Risk it for the biscuit, dude.
Worst that happens is you get a strike, you remove that part, re-upload, and the strike goes away in a couple months or something automatically.
Something like that. Grant, pick a song. What should we play?
Off that record?
Yeah.
Kobayashi Maru is the one that he sings.
Cool.
Which is appropriately nerdy because that's a Star Trek thing. So
I was gonna say, I know what that is.
Yes, you do.
All right. Anyone have any final words to end the show?
Has it been 5 minutes yet?
I was gonna say they better go to Aki.
We all say it at the same time.
It's been 5 minutes, Aki.
I mean,
the show's
you
over. Trash Rando, you rat bastard.
I didn't hear any of that because Pernell talked at the same time.
I don't care. I got to yell at Trash Rando. I'm good.